Good Friday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harapsky. Happening right now, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office and the Minnesota State Patrol are moving in on protesters at the Federal Whipple building in Minneapolis. That's after law enforcement says demonstrators are not allowing vehicles in or out of the federal building, and they're throwing ice chunks at vehicles. State Patrol says people not following police orders will be arrested. The Whipple building is where Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol have been working out of since the beginning of Operation Metro Surge. It's also been the site of protests for the last several weeks. Got new video today showing a massive protest at MSP International Airport and some of those protesters being taken into custody. The airport just responded to us saying that they knew about the protests and had worked with the group in advance to allow them a freedom of expression while also maintaining operations at the airport. The airport says that the protest got too large and MSP police had to take action. This demonstration appears to be over at this point. And the group that was doing the protesting says roughly 100 people were taken into custody. That group is calling on airline companies to stand with Minnesotans and calling for ICE to end its surge in the state. They're also trying to highlight the deportation flights out of MSP and people being taken into ICE custody at the airport. Today, hundreds of local businesses will shut down, not because of the cold, but to protest ICE operations across the state. Local faith leaders and labor groups organized a strike against ICE, calling for an economic blackout. Araya Katane heard from some of the business owners ahead of these protests.
At Insight Brewing in Minneapolis, the piles of donations just keep growing.
We've been collecting baby products, food, clothing, pretty much anything that the community needs.
We just set it up last week and it's been absolutely overwhelming.
Co-owner Eric Schmidt and marketing manager Joey Steinbach expect this collection to only get bigger on Friday, when the brewery, as they put it, will be closed for business but open to the community.
This is what our employees wanted to do. We knew we could make a much bigger difference doing what we're doing as opposed to being open.
Insight is just one of many businesses on this growing list, announcing they will cease operations on Friday as part of a general strike against the surge of ICE agents in Minnesota. So instead of selling brews, Insight's tap room will become a hub for collecting donations to distribute to people in need, with free coffee on the side. On St. Paul's west side, Amy Corey owns Michael's Pizza with her sister.
It was a tough decision.
The small family-owned shop has been around for nearly 70 years. Amy says their staff relies on a full paycheck and their customers need them, so they will be staying open.
We have some community members and some customers that are elderly, disabled, they're unable to leave their homes, and being mainly a delivery business, we felt it was important to continue that.
This is my number 2.
Serving people during tough times is also why Cassie Stiles says she won't be closing the doors to her coffee shop, Cup of More Pages in Inver Grove Heights.
It was a very difficult decision. I spent a long time talking about it with my staff, praying about it, and talking about it with my family.
Instead of closing, Cassie says she will donate a portion of her sales to a neighboring Mexican restaurant, which she says has been forced to close for weeks.
And I recognize that there's a privilege that I have. I don't have to worry because of the color of my skin. And I would rather use that as an opportunity to serve not only the community, but my neighbors.
Many neighbors and business owners on Lake Street in Minneapolis have been especially impacted by ICE, including those new to the neighborhood like Lito's Burritos, which has only been open here for 2 months, but whose owner Miguel Hernandez will be participating in the strike.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it will be a testament to show that our economy, our neighborhoods will not move until our leaders, our political leaders, understand that everyone wants change and everyone wants to see them do more.
Araya Katane reporting there. Another update today on the immigration enforcement that's happening here in the Metro. Border Patrol Commander at Large Greg Bavino says that their mission in the Twin Cities is clear, and for now, they aren't going anywhere. Bavino showing several of the people that he says ICE and Border Patrol have taken off the street in the last day for being in the country illegally, and says the only reason that they are in Minneapolis in the first place is to keep the city safe.
Operations continue unabated here in Minneapolis. Several illegal alien criminals taken off the streets yet again over the past 24 hours. Again, that is what we're here to do, and we're not going to be deterred in doing that. We are going to take these criminal illegal aliens off the street and make America a safer place, make Minneapolis a safer place, Again, that is why we're here.
More questions right now after Columbia Heights preschooler Liam Ramos and his father were taken into ICE custody earlier this week. The Department of Homeland Security says agents tried to get Liam's mother to take the boy, but she allegedly, quote, refused and abandoned him, end quote. Liam's family denies those claims, accusing agents of using Liam as bait to try and draw family members out of their home. Here's Enforcement and Removal Assistant Director Marcos Charles on what he says happened during the interaction with Liam and his father.
When officers approached Conejo Arias, he and his child were in a vehicle. Arias fled from law enforcement on foot, abandoning his child in the middle of winter in a vehicle. One of our officers stayed behind with that child while other officers apprehended his father. After conducting the arrest, my officers stayed with the child. They cared for him, took him to get something to eat from a drive-through restaurant, and spent hours ensuring he was taken care of. My officers did everything they could to reunite him with his family. Tragically, when we approached the door of his residence, the people inside refused to take him in and open the door.
The family's attorney says Liam and his dad entered into the U.S. at a port of legal entry in 2024, and that's through CBP1 immigration app. And they're in the process of seeking asylum.
They were following all the established protocols, pursuing their claim for asylum, showing up for their court hearings, and posed no safety, no flight risk, and never should have been detained.
DHS says it was a targeted enforcement to detain Liam's father. We could not find any criminal history or pending charges for him in Minnesota. If you're heading out and about today, I don't have to tell you this, bundle up. Dangerously cold out there, and it has settled in across Minnesota. Some temperatures dropping as far as 50 degrees below zero with the wind chill. Dangerously cold. We're going to check in with the weather team in just a little bit. To our south right now, about half the country is taking cover from a potentially catastrophic winter storm. About 170 million people could see this storm over the weekend. Ryan Chandler is in Texas with more.
Well, we're entering the final hours of preparation before this monster winter storm takes hold, impacting about half of all Americans from New Mexico to New England. Here in Dallas, we're already seeing the weather take a turn for the worst. It's not freezing yet, but you can really see the makings of what kind of event this is going to be. The roads are a little slick already, not from ice, but from this fine layer of mist that's going to freeze overnight. We're expecting up to half an inch of ice accumulation, which may not sound like much, but it poses real hazards, and it's a similar story all across the South. Right now, at least a dozen states have declared states of emergency, governors all with one message. The best way to ride out this storm is at home. The two greatest dangers that almost everybody in this storm's path will face are, one, on the roads. They're going to be slick and life-threatening, and two, even at home, power outages are a real issue. It's the biggest concern that we hear here in Texas, but all of the local outages that are likely are going to come from that ice accumulation. Look, this is a serious storm, but it's a simple way to stay safe. First responders we've spoken to say, stay home until the ice thaws. In Dallas, I'm Ryan Chandler. Back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. The cold canceling a few events here this weekend as well. Minneapolis organizers for the U.S. Pond Hockey Championships canceled all of today's games. 2026 Lake Harriet Kite Festival also canceled. And in St. Paul, outdoor events for the Winter Carnival canceled for today. That includes the Outdoor Ice Bar and Food Truck Festival. Indoor events are still going on as planned. Organizers say nothing has been canceled so far for Saturday and Sunday. Stick with us. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.